What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? I am Joey Womack, founder and CEO of Goodie Nation, and you're in for a treat as today we're talking about our 2026 strategy for Goodie Nation on this Giving Tuesday. On this Giving Tuesday, y'all, many of you all know that the first Tuesday after the Turkey Day break is dedicated to fundraising for nonprofits. In many cases, for nonprofits like us, it kicks off our end of year fundraising campaign. But this is an opportunity for you all to understand how we think about providing value to those in the innovation economy for 2026 under these interesting times. And I'll talk about that in a second. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in whatever platform you're tuning in from, whether you're on YouTube or LinkedIn or anything like that. Feel free to drop any questions, comments, and things of that nature. And obviously, if you feel the need, if the spirit comes over, you want to contribute by making a donation, please do so as well. I'll drop the information on how to do that in a second. But again, today is Giving Tuesday. And again, our board will probably start to fire me, quite honestly, if I didn't put up the information about how you can contribute. So we are a pledge company. Pledge an amazing company out of Los Angeles. And so you can donate using their platform by texting the word Goodie to 707070. Donate by texting the word Goodie to 707070. Okay, so and from there, like, no amount is too small. Whatever you can do definitely helps us in our operations in terms of moving forward, executing our vision for 2026. So I want to spend a little bit of time setting some context for who we are at Goodie Nation, what we learned this year, and then I'll share more about our strategy for 2026. Okay. So just to set the record straight, at Goodie Nation, we're focused on closing the relationship gap in the innovation economy. So the relationship gap is the lack of access to connectors, decision makers, and influencers in the innovation space, not just tech, creative, CPG, all those types of spaces, right? So if you don't have connections to influencers, connectors, and decision makers, it makes it very difficult to realize your potential. For example, if you're an entrepreneur, you might have a hard time getting access to investors or customers or talented people to hire. If you are an employee, which is totally okay, by the way, and something I definitely encourage, perhaps it means you have lack of access to opportunities to get jobs or promotions and things of that nature. And if you're either role, it makes it very difficult for you to get access to the people that you need that will give you the advice, again, to help you achieve, your goals and your potential. And so typically we see a lot of folks that experience this gap, this relationship gap. Typically, they're people of color, they're women, and or they're those that don't live in coastal financial centers like the Bay Area, Boston, or New York, right? And so, Goodie Nation, we've been dedicated to closing this gap over the past 12 years. We've been doing it by focusing on pre-seed startups in the tech space and social impact space. We evolved to helping post seed startups in the tech and social impact space. We started adding working with small business companies, both brick and mortar and CPG a few years ago. This year, we added work with agency entrepreneurs, and then we obviously have our ecosystem building work. So let's go a little bit into what we learned and what we did this year. One of the key things that we focused on was supporting people based on how they identify in the innovation economy. And when I say identify, that means we do a number of different things. Again, most people understand the work we do with founders, right? Again, tech startup, small business, agency, or whatever. And so we are doubling down on the work with founders. But we also learned there's really good opportunities to work with other identities in the innovation space, such as people that tell stories, so storytellers, people that are amplifiers, so think about people in the marketing and advertising space, also people that identify as connectors, like myself, right? people that build bridges and things of that nature, people that have large networks, and the people that really power the innovation economy, in my opinion, no bias. But we started to develop programming for those type of identity as well. And there's a lot of opportunity, I believe, moving forward. We also learned there's a lot of opportunity in building programming and support around gender-based identity. So this year we launched our Queens of Innovation sub community. We also launched one for men. We call it Good Men United. And there's a lot of power in doing kind of focused work for those sub communities, tweaked and things of that nature, in order to again close that relationship gap. And then finally, we learned there's a lot more power in doing local focused work. So in many cases, people know that we're based out of Atlanta. We've been doing things in Atlanta, for the past 12 or so years. We've never had a true focused effort on Atlanta besides our Atlanta Black tech community, which is super important. But for like Goodie Nation Atlanta, there's a big opportunity, right? Big opportunity. We also learned that there's big opportunities to build what we call, again, collectives, or think of them like as chapters. I just hate the word chapter, but like collectives based on geography in places like New York, in places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, Miami, and more. Right. So that kind of helped set the stage for what we learned this year. And we ran a bunch of experiments. We've done workshops. We've done these small private masterminds, groupings of folks on Zoom. We've done in-person dinners. This year, we drove over $100,000 to locally owned restaurants by our community dinner series, both here in Atlanta, in New York, in LA, in DC, and Chicago. So we learned there's a lot of power in doing almost like a Disney-like model. So if you're familiar with how Disney as a company is categorized and grouped, it's kind of like three main buckets, right? They have the content. So think of like ABC, ESPN, the movies like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. Those are what we call like the content engine. And then from there, they go from the content engine, the film and TV, to experiences. So it's where you see the theme parks and things of that nature. And at the theme parks, they have merchandise, right? So all this stuff kind of feeds together. So from us, and this is kind of now I'm starting to go into what we're focused on for next year, for 2026, we thinking about it in a similar way, right? So our content engine is our community focused work, right? Founders, the things that we do for storytellers and amplifiers, the things that we do for connectors, the things we do for Queens of Innovation, for Good Men United, and things that we do on a local level. That's our content engine, provides value that then feeds into our experiences. So we'll start to do more on doubling down on experience, both virtual and in person. So when I say in person, you'll start to see us do more community dinners in Atlanta, in LA, New York, Chicago, and more. You'll start to see us do more virtual sessions as well, more industry roundtables, and I'll get to that more in a second. More workshops. I'll get into more of that in a second. And then more kind of what we call like geographic focused kind of thought leadership flagship events, like our Intentionally Good Summit. We did one in Atlanta a few weeks ago, but we're looking to do more in some of these key cities, LA, New York, Chicago, so on and so forth. Right. So at a super high level, that kind of sets the stage for what we're focused on for next year. But we do have some very specific priorities and goals, right? So some very specific priorities and goals. One of them is a lot of them are heavily influenced by our acquisition of the A Pledge earlier this year, right? So the A Pledge nonprofit in Atlanta focused on those in the agency space, so marketing agencies in particular. One of the reasons why I was super excited for this opportunity is because, again, as you understand, like we have the tech folks, we have the CPG folks and brick and mortar folks. The missing part of that innovation economy circle are the creatives. And so now we have an opportunity to bring in creatives, so storytellers, again, podcasters, people that write, things of that nature, and then the amplifiers, the marketing, and for marketing advertising folks, we bring them into the fold because, and again, it's part of our priorities. One of the big things for 2026 is the FIFA World Cup, right? And so, some of you all may know, the FIFA World Cup is split between U.S., Mexico, and Canada and stuff for next summer. And many of the host cities like Atlanta, Bay Area, LA, Dallas, Houston, Miami overlap with where we have clusters or collectives of Goodie Nation community members. So I see this interesting opportunity where we have tech folks, small business folks, again, brick and mortar, CPG, and then creatives. We start to do experiences in Atlanta, LA, Bay Area, so on and so forth during the World Cup, right? So that's one of our big things for next year. And again, I'll go into like very specifically what that means in a second. But let's talk about our first set of priorities. So the first one is going to be around support services, right? So support services is things that people may call like technical assistance. I just literally hate the word. And so from a technical assistance standpoint, we have several kind of sub bullet points. The first one is going to be AI upskilling, and that's kind of broken into two different categories. The first one is for entrepreneurs. And so some of you all may know that we have a coach in residence on our team. His name is Bobby Gilbert. He's starting to do more workshops on a weekly basis that are focused on giving like best practices on how to do various things around AI agents. Matter of fact, the first one is tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'll drop that link in chat shortly. But he will be focused on giving these weekly workshops on AI agents, particularly for entrepreneurs. So 2 weeks out of the month will be focused on things for entrepreneurs. And then the other half of the month will be focused on AI agents and tools for creatives. So how might you use the latest and greatest tools to create videos and images? So think like Nana Banana and things like that, right? These are all free workshops for the community. And then for select members of the community, you can book coaching for free with him, like a one-on-one session with him to help you learn more about these AI tools and in some cases implement it. To be clear, this year he saved over $1 million for Goodie Nation community members just simply by his one-on-one sessions. So again, next year, AI agent workshops for entrepreneurs and for creatives, right? The second part about support services is going to be around sales and marketing, and how that plays out in real life is similar to Bobby. There will be weekly workshops, 30 minutes on Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern with Seth Banks, our B2B sales coach in residence, where again, he walks you down like best practices on how to sell. And he's been doing this for the past few weeks, been testing it out. It is absolutely gold. And just like Bobby, you can book time with him afterward for free in order to get more one-on-one focused time, right? Now, slots are limited, to be clear. Both he and Bobby's slots are limited, but it's an extreme amount of value. We've already seen, in particular, entrepreneurs take the key learnings from Seth and implement them days later to get contracts worth over 5 figures, right? So under support services, the first one is AI upskilling. The second one is sales. The third one is going to be around leadership development, right? Leadership development. And so what that looks like in real life is we have topics focused on things like priority and goal setting. I'm a real big believer that the best leaders I've ever seen, whether it be founders or people that work for somebody else, are those that have a system to set their top priorities and goals, reflect on them, and then adjust, especially on a weekly basis. That also extends to a monthly and quarterly basis. It's monotonous work. It's tedious. It's boring. It's not cool, right? But it is the most effective. So we will have sessions focused on that. The second one is around performance mindset. So we've been blessed to have a member of our team that's currently on Team USA, gearing up for the Winter Olympics. There have been several high-level athletes in Goodie Nation. And so we're taking the learnings from these high-level athletes and sharing them with other Goodie Nation community members in order to learn how to effectively lead and execute during troubling times like many people would consider us in, from an economic standpoint, from a technology standpoint, from a political standpoint. In many cases, again, I'll get into this more in a second, the difference is going to be mental. The difference is going to be mental. So we'll be having more of these sessions to focus on the mental in order to develop members as better leaders. All right. We'll also have a few other types of sessions on how to become an effective storyteller and how to predict the future, learning some tried and true techniques. Now, the fourth kind of bullet point essentially under our support services is going to be around mental health. So I alluded to there are troubling times going on. Many people are losing jobs. Many people are shutting down their small businesses, their startups and things of that nature. In many cases, their family members are experiencing the same and worse. Many Goodie Nation community members are both caretakers for parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, but also for their children. It's very, very, very stressful. So we have a priority this year around mental health, and how that plays out is monthly therapy sessions for all folks in Goodie Nation, informal group therapy. So since before Goodie Nation started, when we were just like an informal group, we did monthly informal group therapy sessions for founders. We call it All Founders Need Therapy. Probably the most powerful thing that we do. Earlier this month, we tested out a version called All Innovators Need Therapy. So you can log on to Zoom. Typically, they're third Thursdays. Again, it's complimentary. And you can vent about how your role in the innovation economy affects your life, right? From there, we've partnered with several mental health professionals, namely CWC Coaching and Therapy. Well, they will provide for you. You have to pay for this. They will provide you professional mental health support, right? So we go from the informal in a group to one-on-one professional, because again, in many cases, leaders in the Goodie Nation community need mental health support. The second part of that is going to be an emphasis on physical fitness and how that plays out in real life. More than likely, it's going to be informal group exercising. So if you're in Atlanta, maybe people walk the belt line, maybe they go play basketball, maybe they go play golf, softball, soccer, kickball, work out with trainers and things of that nature. We're not going to actually organize the stuff. We like for the community to self-organize based on geography or whatever you want to do. But we're just going to, strongly encourage you all to work out. I'm not going to go into the benefits of how exercise helps with mental health. I'm perfectly sure that people know about it. If you don't, just go look it up. Right. So those are our priorities for 2026 in terms of support services. Right. So the first one is AI upskilling. The second one around sales and marketing. The third one is around leadership development. And the fourth one is around mental health. And I kind of explain how it kind of plays out. Now, our second big bucket as it relates to our priorities for 2026 is the FIFA World Cup. Right. So FIFA World Cup. And so what that looks like in real life. And sorry, by the way, as a reminder, let me kind of reset the room because, again, I just want the board to keep on employing me here. This is Giving Tuesday for Goodie Nation. If you would like to donate, please consider donating by texting the word Goodie to 707070, and then you can make a donation no matter how small or large. It helps us keep the lights on. Okay, so now let's go into our second bucket, which is going to be 2026 FIFA World Cup. Not going to go into too much detail. Just to let you know, generally speaking, when a World Cup game is played, no matter the city, it is like the Super Bowl from an economic development standpoint. You're talking about billions of dollars being spent. Now, for some cities like Atlanta, there's going to be like 8 matches played in a matter or a span of a few weeks. So think about if 8 Super Bowl were played in like 3 weeks in a city, that's a ton of economic impact. But for Goodie Nation folks, what it means is there's a lot of opportunity for you to do a number of different things, right? It's a number of different things that you could do to benefit from all the activity going on around FIFA World Cup in your particular city. Now, earlier, again, I outlined several cities where we have clusters or collective of members: Atlanta, LA, the Bay Area. These are all cities where the World Cup will have matches, multiple matches. And the finals are in New York City, right? The final match is in New York City. So we have kind of three priorities under the World Cup kind of bullet point for what we'd like Goodie Nation community members to get out of World Cup, in their city or multiple cities. So the first one is going to be around visibility, right? The second one is going to be around revenue generation. And the third one is going to be around relationship development. So let's go into the visibility bucket for a second, kind of how that plays out, because we already started the process of planning. And some people will say, by the way, that if it's December of 2025 and World Cup is in June, July of 2026, it's too late. Like many brands have already started spending the money, so on and so forth. I've heard a little bit different on a generic side of things. I've heard that in many cases, it's not too late for small and medium-sized brands to still activate. But also for this particular World Cup, I've heard that many cities around the country, even Mexico, that a lot of stuff still has not occurred yet. So what that tells me, there's still opportunity for people to make some stuff shake. Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff done, but there's still opportunity there. And again, if I believe that you're in the innovation economy, you should be looking to World Cup as a way to help you achieve whatever goals you may have set. But for us, again, we're focused on visibility for members, revenue generation, and relationship development. So early thoughts on visibility. We love for there to be some type of storefront in in and around the places, the stadiums where the matches will be made. So we imagine some type of space where multiple Goodie Nation members are housed out of. If you have a company, maybe you're selling your products. If you're individual, you're there. You're there in a physical space near the stadium as an opportunity to meet VIPs and things of that nature. That also plays out. Perhaps there's many conferences and panels leading up to the World Cup and during the in-between days. So again, that helps with visibility, right? The second one around revenue generation. We'd love for Goodie Nation community members to help activate for some of these larger brands. So shout out to Chuck Welsh for this idea. So one of the early ideas is for brands can come to Goodie Nation and say, like, hey, I'd like to do an activation during World Cup, like unofficial, by the way, in Atlanta. Well, we have a bunch of vetted agencies and similar brands that we could work with, and we can work with and help you execute your campaign. And obviously these vetted members of Goodie Nation get these contracts and stuff like that. So again, that's part of the way in which we're thinking about Goodie Nation community members can generate revenue from World Cup. The other thing is like renting out your home or maybe your vehicle or things of that nature. But bottom line is we want people to think about benefiting from an economic lens, particularly like generating revenue around World Cup. The final piece is going to be around relationship development and how that plays out. Early thoughts are a few different things. One, we love to do a co-working day, perhaps at our office in Atlanta during the downtimes. One of the cooler ideas is using our existing community dinners in order to, again, help members develop relationships. And these are kind of broken up into two different ways, right? One are public facing or kind of like open dinners, where you have our current dinner hosts. They book a reservation at a restaurant in a LA, Bay Area, or San Francisco, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Miami. There's a few Goodie Nation community members that have dinner with them, but also there are some key people that are visiting, for World Cup in those particular cities, and they go to dinner. Everybody pays for themselves except for the visitors. So we call this a welcoming committee. So for the visitors, they get their meal paid for by the folks in that city. But again, these are high-powered kind of folks. The second one is kind of what we call like private dinners. So these would be dinners hosted at members' homes for visiting VIPs, again, in World Cup. We love to partner with one of our member startups, Live In. So those that are not familiar with Live In, look up Erica Tuggle on LinkedIn. It's like an Uber for personal chefs, right? You can book a chef to come to your home, fix a meal. So, and I've done this personally with the startup as well. So for World Cup, we're envisioning a world where VIPs or influencers or connectors that are coming in town for World Cup in their particular city. So let's say like LA as an example. They are invited to a private dinner at a Goodie Nation community member house. Live In provides the chef. They have a meal, right? It's a lot of trust that goes in when you invite someone to your home, right? Both Goodie Nation members and people that are visiting from out of town. And so how we're looking to develop these relationships. Very soon, my understanding is that the first set of cities, the draw will be announced, basically. So we'll know shortly, at least to a certain extent, what countries will be playing matches in what cities here in the US, and we can start to target. So for example, if France is going to play in LA, again, I'm making this up, we can start right now figuring out how to target people from France that might be coming to World Cup and invite them to some of these events, right? Again, deep relationship building is what we're looking for. So that's what we're planning to do for next year for World Cup, things around visibility, revenue generation, and then relationship development. We are a big believer in being efficient from an ecosystem standpoint. So we are not looking to reinvent the wheel. We're looking to collaborate with the existing initiatives that are going on. And so if you are a brand that are looking to activate during World Cup, we have a bunch of dope people that can help you do so. If you like to get plugged in as a dinner host or things of that nature, or help us even plan this type stuff, hit me up, let me know. We have weekly planning sessions for World Cup, like that are virtual, some in person as well here in Atlanta. Definitely not too late. We can still make stuff happen because, again, we're folks in the innovation economy. We move fast, right? We move fast. So again, our plan for next year, I've covered our support services. I've focused on FIFA World Cup, kind of two other things, and then we'll kind of close up and I'll look at questions and stuff. So the third part is going to be around storytelling. So again, going back to that Disney example, we're going to be focusing on telling the amazing stories of the dope people in the Goodie Nation community with an emphasis on those that are engaging in our virtual and in-person experiences, right? Our virtual and in-person experiences, whether they be industry roundtables, whether they be workshops, whether they masterminds, whether they're dinners, whether they're summits and things of that nature. And then the final piece is we will be focusing more so on our identity-based merchandise, in particular, our hoodies and sweatshirts. So you all can go to our website, and under the Take Action banner, there is a link for our software collection. It is a partnership between Goodie Nation and founder Moda based out of Birmingham. And so for those identities that I listed earlier, founder, storyteller, amplifier, connector, queen of innovation, good brother, and things like Catalyst, which is for investors and funders and things like that, you can purchase a hoodie, kind of somewhat similar to this, right? A hoodie or a sweatshirt. And so again, that ties in everything together. So as a quick recap, we'll do more around building out our sub communities. We'll provide experiences for them that are either virtual and in person with emphasis on FIFA World Cup. We'll tell the stories of the amazing people that engage. And then as an added bonus, you have merchandise. So quickly reset before I kind of go into some of the questions and comments and things of that nature. So again, if you like what I had to say, if you believe in Goodie Nation's mission on closing the relationship gap, please consider making a donation by texting Goodie to 70 70 70. Right? Texting Goodie to 70 70 70. And so, yes, so some folks that have questions, a few things. If you'd like to join the community, you can go to goodienation.org. There's an apply button, and just takes us a while to evaluate the applications. There are sub-communities for you to join, like Queen of Innovation, Atlanta Black Tech, Storytellers, so on and so forth. Does not cost anything to apply to the community, but it is just take a little bit of time to kind of fill out the application, right? So that's about it. So if you're new, if you've been laid off or anything like that, it's totally okay. Again, we are putting more emphasis in providing opportunities for people So what that looks like, even in real life, in our Slack group, we have a channel for opportunities. And so we're looking to do more around servicing open jobs and things of that nature. Personally, on LinkedIn, I've dedicated to committing, more than half of my posts each day, each week, each month to job postings. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. Just look me up. I'm probably the only bald head black dude with a beard under the name Joey Womack on LinkedIn. But follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll just do nothing but kind of repost quite a few job postings. And I'll say this: at one point, I didn't think that I was having any impact. And a few months ago, somebody did reach out to me and say, "Hey, like, I really appreciate it." They ended up getting the interview, and someone else actually got hired. So I'm going to keep on doing it in 2026. Right? I know job opportunities are kind of scarce. At least right now, we're on a little bit of a downswing. So I'm dedicated to posting as many job postings or job openings on LinkedIn. So follow me. Also in Slack, we're going to start posting more there as well. So that's our focus for 2026. We're going to start executing. We've already run a little, quite a few tests, especially with the online workshops with Seth and Bobby. We're starting to do more with World Cup. We're going to do more of these dinners and things of that nature. Just remember, our theme for 2026 is we have friends everywhere, and we're looking to activate the community of Goodie Nation, the amazing group of dope people, in order to help people realize their potential. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's go, y'all. Happy holidays, and look out on social media and email for more from us at Goodie Nation. We're really just getting started. And again, my final piece, more so because the bosses want me to. If you feel free, if you feel the quote unquote spirit come over you, want to donate to Goodie Nation, please text the word Goodie to 707070. If you have other opportunities like sponsorship and grants, reach out to me directly. You can just go to LinkedIn and or kind of the contact us form at goodienation.org to do that. Happy to hop on a call and talk a little bit more. So appreciate you all for tuning in. And I'll leave you all with the last thing that we say here at Goodie Nation, which is stay magnetic, y'all. Stay magnetic. I mean, stay together. It's the only way that we move forward is by staying together, being intentional about helping out your fellow human, quite honestly, but also Goodie Nation community member. So happy Giving Tuesday, y'all. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon. Peace out.